I wanted to be a film director. And I had a job as a messenger boy for J. Arthur Rank, who was one of the big film companies of the 50s. And some of the messenger boys wanted to start a skiffle group. They didn't have a singer. And my friend, Roger Van Engel, Ergy, who was the washboard player, nominated me. And I think it was because I was slightly less frightened than the rest of them that I got the job. Otherwise, I may never have sung, ever, because it wasn't a burning passion to go out and sing. I had more of a burning passion to go out and act. My real name's Terence Nelhams Wright. Now, that's not exactly a catchy pop name in the 50s and 60s, is it?
So where did the name Adam Faith come from?
Well, Jack Good, who was the king of television rock and roll, he produced 6-5 Special, which was really the first rock and roll show ever in this country. He'd seen me in the skiffle group and said, go solo and come and do a few shows for me. And I went solo and did some shows. But before I did them, at the time I was called Terry Denver and the Worried Men. And there were a few other Terrys around, some of who were getting to be big successes like Terry Dean. He said, you can't have the name Terry, you're going to have to think of another name. And he threw me over a book of kids' names. His wife had just had a baby and I picked out Faith from the girls and Adam from the boys. Because I wanted two names that were also words in the language, like Adam's apple, or don't know from Adam, you've got to have faith, hope and charity. And that's how I came to get the name.
Were you surprised by the phenomenal success?
Yeah.
Because you had 24 hit singles, a mansion, a cook, a valet, all the sort of luxuries that lots of people work their whole life for, and you weren't even 20 years old.
No, 19. I mean, it was remarkable. It was unbelievable. I'm sure if you interviewed the lottery winners, they'd be feeling the same way. You cannot believe that you could be in the right place at the right time. Well, it was great fun for everybody in the 60s in Britain. Everything was changing. Society was changing. Teenagers, who of course are the most fanatical of all age groups, had never had music before. They'd always had their parents' music. Here they had a music of their own for the first time. And pop music was at the spearhead of it, like James Dean was.
How did you handle all the fame and the fact that wherever you went, girls were screaming and
on the
following
whole, you handle it quite badly because it's such an unusual event in your life. You're not, why should you know anything about handling money or fame or, if a kid breaks now into show business and becomes big, they know where to go for decent management, lawyers, accountants. They keep it much more in perspective, I think.
Well, everybody will well remember the series in the 70s with Ian Cuthbert's and Budgie, which, again, was another phenomenal success. But how did you get into acting from the music business?
Well, I just woke up one morning. I'd been intending to do it for some years. And a bit like giving up cigarettes, I thought I must give up singing and go into acting because I was never really terribly confident about my voice as a singer. I knew I had a limited range as a singer, and I felt by the middle 60s I was getting to the end of that range, and I didn't want to go out having used it all up. And so I decided that I'd go back to my original ambition of becoming an actor, and one day I just simply went into the office and said, right, that's it. Whatever date in the book, that's the last singing I'll ever do. And then I wrote to all the rep companies in Britain and asked them if they could give me a job.